Short stories.
The Chaplin twins, Frida and Greta, became well known when they were made the subject of a number of newspaper and magazine articles. The reports documented the strange case of the Chaplin twins. They had both fallen for a lorry driver who lived next door, and their attraction had become an obsession which continued for many years. The twins were eventually taken to court when the lorry driver charged that they had been following him about for no apparent reason. Frightened by the prospect of being separated in jail, the twins promised to leave their neighbour alone. During the court case, the bizarre pattern of their lives and their strange life of dual identity began to emerge.
Well, there's two of us, we live our lives as two of us, only one of us, don't we?
Frida and Greta are identical twins. They dress alike, talk in unison, and even try to walk in step. They insist on doing everything together, and must be able to see each other at all times. If separated, even for a moment, they become hysterical. The twins now live in the East London borough of Hackney. They are unable to work, that is, they are unable to hold separate jobs. In the mornings, they go to a local hospital for occupational therapy. They spend their afternoons at home or on outings to the local parks and shops. They came to London when Jack Davenport, a retired engineer, invited the twins to share his house after reading their story in a newspaper.
Jack wrote to you, and then you wrote back to him.
He said we'd like to come. Yes. Yes.
What did he say in the letter?
He said he had a spare bedroom he had 2 bedrooms. That's when we said we'd like to come just for a night or two to start off with. We said we'd like to come.
And then you had a really nice time when you were here, and so you wanted to stay.
That's right, and then we always wanted to come.
And then did you come again and again?
That's right. We kept coming again and again, that's right.
One day we bought
then one day we bought our television. We sped up for York, and then we said we wanted to stay.
Where were you staying in York then?
Hostel.
In hostel?
Yes.
It wasn't very nice there.
No.
For the first time in their lives, Frida and Greta are now living in a household where, because of Jack, they get the support and care that they need. They are reluctant to leave the house on their own and prefer to go out with Jack, who looks after them and protects them from curious onlookers. They will avoid crowds and prefer the winter months when there are fewer people in the streets.
You up, Bruno?
They are aware that they attract ridicule, especially from children, but in Jack's company they feel at ease.
They've just been born and bred into the twins, very close twins, from little girls right up through their school days, right up to the time they come to me. And as far as I know, their mother during their earlier life treated them as babies, twin babies, from very early in their life till they left school at 15, 16 years of age.
Do you remember much about your mother?
Few things.
Small few things.
Do you want to say what sort of things?
I liked about her, she always told us.
Like I liked about our mother, she told us always to stick to each other, never to go with any men. Like it, because she said one day when we were little, I remember saying when you get old, always stick to each other.
And she said always, when you go to shops, if you get asked for 2, They say they've only got one. She said you always walk away and leave it. She said you never take one without the other.
Or start having a big argument because
I started a big argument in shop because they've only got one. Like, that's about it. We've always remembered that.
Did you have toys as little girls? Did you play with toys?
not many,
Not many.
What sort of toys did you have? Do you remember?
I think we just used to have one.
I think we don't see we.
Right, one doll each, didn't we?
Yes.
Was that doll the same too?
I mean, twin dolls.
Twin dolls,
Yes. Yes. When we have two things together, you generally call them twin scarves or twin cards or twin coats or twin dresses.
If they come out of the wash or clean their teeth, something like that, they both stand there and clean their teeth at exactly the same time, the same pace, same toothbrush, and do exactly the same thing. And it's nothing that you tell them to do or something that they want to do, it's just something that they do. They both pick up the fork at the same time and the knife at the same time. They eat fish and chips, and you'll see that they both pick up a chip together. And when they have a meal, they're not content till they both got identical the same amount of food on their plate, or same amount of tea in a cup. And mine is theirs, not individually.
They have two black coats, but one came with green buttons and the other with black. The twins swapped 2 buttons from each coat, so that both coats had 2 green and 2 black buttons. Everything must be identical, even down to the smallest of details. When the telephone rings, both twins insist on speaking. One will talk, then pass the phone to the other, who will then repeat the conversation.
No. Yeah, he's the other twin.
Frida and Greta seem to be trapped in one mind. If given cakes of soap, each will cut theirs in 2 and swap a half. When given pairs of non-matching gloves, they simply exchange 1 glove each.
Yeah.
Do you ever wear each other's dress?
Okay. We are interested, yeah.
No, but would you, is that your green dress and that's your green dress, or you swap them around?
No, we just hang them both up. We don't bother.
You don't bother?
No, we just hang them both up.
And then if you put one on, you just take the first green dress?
That's right.
I was going to ask you, do you have a special way of communicating, talking? When you look at each other, do you know what the other one's going to say?
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, what about your thoughts? Do you think you're thinking about the same things?
We like to think about the same things, yeah. You call each other twin. I don't say twin.
Twin, do you?
Yes.
What do you say? Hello, my name is Twin.
No, that's what we first mean when we're talking to each other. We generally say twin. That's what you mean.
Do you argue with each other? Sometimes.
Sounds of it, yes. Sounds of it.
Then you forgive each other and make up.
That's right.
But that doesn't happen too often, I hope.
No. It doesn't happen as much now as what it used to do when we was younger.
The twins have developed a number of fixed rituals and routines which they keep to when they're in the house. This seems to reinforce the bond that began in their childhood. Telepathic communication is often suggested as an explanation of the extreme closeness between identical twins. Although this has never been scientifically proven, it may partly explain why Frida and Greta act in unison. When they are doing their household chores, the twins move about slowly and stiffly, like twin compasses. When one moves, the other seems to be drawn to her twin, as if by an invisible force. are genetically the same, it's a fairly easy matter for one twin to adopt or imitate the other. Simply being together seems to trigger this off.
Jim have been doing it for so many years. You know, like some people get habits of drinking and things and they can't stop them. And they get habits of smoking and things, don't they, and they can't stop them. We had such an habit of that we never wanted to stop it.
It has been suggested that because the twins were so close as small children, they learned to be entirely dependent on each other, rather than developing their own identity. Although the twins are separate individuals, biologically and physically they are the same. They share not only their birth and parents, but also their looks, so they can look at their twin and see themselves in her image. It could be said that the twin is beside herself.
If we go out shopping, like, they buy knitting wool, they'll automatically go and buy the same bowl of wool, same colour, same price. And they might even be picking up the items from a different pile of goods. And sometimes they do it so fast that it's difficult to see them actually doing it, because both their hands will move or their feet will move. And you think sometimes that you're seeing a double vision.
Put in the bag first, right?
They don't like people watching them because they know very well that people are seeing them doing identical things at identical times, and this sometimes upsets them.
Okay.
We shout that loud and we shout that loud to shout that loud to the stop it till they stop it. We shout that loud until they stop it. Sometimes we've got to say, sometimes we get annoyed, we say to people, what are you looking at? What are you looking at?
Turn you sometimes we say turn your face away, and what turn your face round. Yeah, there's a lot of upset me, we say turn your face round, and what you looking at just spot, what you starving at just spot. Quite a lot, and that's the upset them, haven't we? Yes. Lot. More than what? Yes. A lot of them care to remember. Yes. A lot of things with lots of people, haven't we? Yes.
Well, they're definitely different personalities, although they won't admit this. Greta is the softer and the more sensible one. Frida is the one that tends to dominate her sister, and one that loses her temper quicker. Well, living with the twins initially was very difficult, because I had to do virtually everything for them. But of course life is very much easier now, and in actual fact life is quite happy with them now. And we go out to these places on a Saturday or a Sunday, and they really enjoy it, and so do I actually now, because they've become quite good and intelligent company. They want friendship, love and understanding, and this is one thing they didn't get to most of the places they went to.
It's a good thing they left, isn't it?
How did your mother feel about you leaving? Was she upset?
We didn't tell her, did we? We didn't tell her till we got here, to make sure she couldn't stop and go it until we got here before we told her.
Was she a happy woman?
Very happy, wasn't she? Yes. And she was happy about everything. About everything that was going on.
Think she'll be happy here now?
She might be happy now, might she?
I hope she is.
Yes, yes.
You haven't written to her for a long time, have you?
No. That's it. See what we can do, won't we? Just anything we can do.
Well, there must be something you can do.
Yes,
yes.
So I know you'd like to have contact with her.
Yes, yes. I want you to go on for the rest of our life, do it, and not having nothing to do with doing it, and not having nothing to do with us. I want you to go on forever, do it.
Although Frida and Greta know their parents will not allow them in the house, and despite their fear of crowds, every 2 or 3 weeks they take the train to York. They have kept to this routine ever since they moved to London. Frida and Greta were born in York in 1943 and lived with their parents on a large housing estate. From the age of 5 until they were 15, the twins went to the local school, but they say they cannot remember anything about this period of their lives. After leaving school, the twins spent all their time at home. It was not until they reached this age that they began to synchronize their speech. No one is quite sure what happened during the following years. Both their mother and father found it difficult to live with the twins and had them placed in the care of an institution, where they stayed for a number of years before moving on to a series of semi-sheltered homes and hostels. When the twins arrive in York, they return to the house where they spent their childhood and where their mother and father still live. They wait here, sometimes for hours, hoping to catch a glimpse of their parents.
You think your mother was home today?
She was with your in the window. Yes, she was there, yes.
Did you see her through the window?
Yes, we did. She did.
Did she see you?
Oh, yes, she did.
Did she do anything?
No. Didn't come out, did she? Didn't come out.
What did you do? Did you wave at her or?
Next minute she's gone. She seems to disappear, do you know what I mean? She sees it, she seems to disappear. You don't seem to see her anymore, do you know what I mean? She always seems to be there when we first go, and then she disappears. Then she seems to disappear.
Do you think she waits at the window for you to come?
Maybe. No, I don't think so, no.
Do you come on different days when you come, or is it always the same day?
No, you don't always come on the same day.
So she wouldn't know what day it was?
No, she wouldn't know. But I mean, if you always went on a Thursday, you always went on a Tuesday, yes. No, we'd always done different days. Last time we came to York, it was the Thursday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks tomorrow. 2 weeks tomorrow. Since we've been.
Right.
Yeah, first day 18th. Yes.
Since they've come to London to stop with me for several years, they're now very much more in a state of mind The other thing is, I think now their stage in life they've come to, which I believe that with a little help or a little assistance, they can live on their own in a semi-sheltered home. I'm not talking about them living in a sheltered home permanently, just for another 6 months or 9 months.
What would you like the most?
We leave it to Devonport, we want to live with somebody else.
No, we don't want to go and live in it. No, we have to go to somebody else when we leave him.
We have to live on our own.
So you'd always like to live with someone else in the house?
Yes.
Oh yes, yes, always.
Why is that, do you think?
No, I don't want to live in a place on our own.
You think you would argue?
Not nothing to do with that.
It's just the outside world, you know?
Yes, yes.
So you want someone to sort of answer
Someone
the door
always
if
to be
it
there.
rings?
Yes, somebody always to be there, yes.
Yes.
Would you be frightened?
Yes,
Definitely always writing, yes.
What would be the most frightening thing?
Find people's going to break in, things like that. Yes.
Below the life, wouldn't it?
Below the life. Yes.
But I've noticed this over the last 6 or 7 months, that they very often do fall into the line of doing things separately. Only for short periods. And then for a few minutes they're going to do different jobs. One start making tea, and the other one will carry on with the washing machine, and it'll suddenly dawn on them that they're doing different things, and they'll walk away and leave both items alone, and they do something else together. And they get quite in a flustered lather if they do get separated. They tend to get over anxious to each other, and they get sort of disoriented to the situation around them. They start going round in circles or walking off in the wrong direction, things like that sort of thing, you know. But if they can see each other and talk to each other, even though they might be some way apart, it doesn't seem to affect them so much.
Frida and Greta seem to gain their sense of being in the world only through each other. The twins cannot imagine a life without each other. They insist that they will always stay together, and in their own words they say, "We feel like we're one person, not two people. If doing everything together causes problems, we don't see it." It is not surprising that Frida and Greta have few friends. The close tie between them serves as a screen against the surrounding world. When they find things too difficult, the twins cling to each other even more tightly. While it is not clear how Frida and Greta can so often share each other's actions, what is clear is that however bizarre their behavior looks to the outside world, it provides an anchor to their lives with each other.